That's part of Krishna's plans, that things appear to be the same when reversals come. To test, do we really want it? If we really want it, we're willing to persevere, even though things are not going exactly in the magical way that we would like them to. They are going in a magical way, but in a way that will actually help us to really surrender and love God. When you're sick, the doctor doesn't always give you a remedy that you enjoy. Yes? If you have a heart problem and you have to have a triple bypass surgery, it doesn't feel that good. But you do it. At least some people do it. So sometimes treatment is not what we want, but it works. So in this world, we have this disease of being selfish, of being egoistic, of seeing in terms of I and mine instead of Krishna, and it's a very deeply chronic heart disease. And when we take to Krishna consciousness, Krishna wants to see that we really want to get better. So there's going to be tests. But sometimes it really appears that it's just not working. Why is Krishna abandoning me? Is he watching? And that's what happened here. After this, we may do years and years and years of sadhana, and then it seems like everything's just going wrong. But it's not going wrong. It's going according to a master plan. So here the demigods, they worked really hard. It was like their sadhana. They were following Krishna's direction. They were risking their lives. They were struggling and straining. And at the very, very, very end, when the nectar finally comes, the demons take it all. Now, an atheistic person would say to the demigods, you see, we told you. What did you do all that for? They were totally bereft. But then at the very end, when there was no hope, there was no way, there was nothing they could do. What's really amazing is the demons were fighting against themselves for the nectar. They were really disunited. But why didn't the demigods attack at that point in a united way to take it away? The reason? Because they didn't have a chance. They were so much weaker that even though the demons were disunited and fighting amongst each other, the demigods knew that they didn't have a chance to get it. Because as soon as they came, the demons would unite and destroy them. So they were just all sitting in a corner just watching, thinking, finished, failed, nothing. Only hope, nothing we could do. They were really crying out for Krishna. Really crying out for Krishna. Not just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. They were really crying out for Krishna. Everything was based on Krishna saving them because there's nothing they could do. And then, in the most mysterious and wonderful way, Mohini Murti appears and gives all the nectar to the demigods. So in the end, all the nectar comes to those who love God, who follow the will of God. But we can know before we even start the path that when we follow the will of God, we still go through many of the same challenges and disappointments of everyone else in the world on the external level. Sometimes people's faith is very much based on how temporary circumstances go the way we want them to go. But Krishna warns us, sometimes I'll take everything away just so that you really understand how you're depending on me. If we see God's grace and God's love within the situation, we can welcome it and be happy. If not, we become bewildered. And that is why we need to regularly hear in the association of devotees to maintain the substance of that faith, real faith. Everyone has faith, either in the temporary illusory energy or in God. It's not a matter of faith or no faith, it's a matter of where you put your faith. An immature devotee thinks, when I come to Krishna consciousness, materially everything's going to happen my way. And for some time, Krishna may actually make it appear that way. But then after some time, it's not necessarily going to happen. Our shelter, our fulfillment is something on a much deeper platform. That's where it always has been. So before that moment comes, Krishna wants us to really be in connection to the divine within ourselves. To really be in connection to his infinite, eternal love and grace. And therefore, all of the successes and failures of this world are really meant to prepare us to take shelter of the immortal. Because from the perspective of the eternal soul, whether things go the way we want them or not in this world is a very, very temporary situation. Do they help bring us closer to God? Or do they just frustrate us on the mundane platform? That's the choice that all of us have. But Krishna has promised. In Ramayana, in Mahabharata, in so many of the other scriptures we find, there's always tests and apparent reversals for devotees. But in the end, the nectar of immortality, the nectar of Krishna, is manifested through the nectar of the holy name when we take shelter. This is a very important story. And this particular verse and purport is explaining the difference between truth and illusion, material and spiritual, is simply the difference between being selfish and having a spirit of selfless service to God and to others. God and to others means when you water the root of the tree, automatically you are doing the greatest benefit to all others. Philanthropy, altruism on the mundane platform is temporary relief for a few people. But when we actually act for the welfare of others on the basis of our love for God, we nourish the souls of others. we're actually doing the greatest benefit for every living being, whether they recognize or not. That is their free will. Now, apparently for most of us, we don't see the root, we see the rest of the tree. Is it blind faith to pour water on the root of the tree? A mundane person will criticize you. What are you doing putting the water in the ground for? The tree needs the water, not the ground. What is this nonsense? Put it on the leaf, put it on the twig, put it on the branch. Say, no, because if I put it on the root of the tree, every part will get. That's based on faith and what you can't see, because you don't see the root. But based on the experience of others, based on good logic and philosophy, we understand this. And when we actually do it, we see it works. So pouring water on the root of the tree is doing something that is very unseen. You don't even see the root, yes? But yet you're putting your water. Why not put the water on what you see? There's faith. Well, serving God, the faith is even more tangible. We see through history, we see through scripture, we see through our own experiences how it works. Krishna appears. The root of the tree is appearing in such beautiful forms, Radha Gopinath. Yes, just to unite our efforts. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is for the welfare of all humanity. By developing love of God through serving their lordships, who unify all of us, we could actually nourish the hearts and the souls of all beings. But loving devotional service is without selfish desire, without egoistic expectations. It is for the pleasure of the Lord, according to the will of the Lord. Through such an approach, Krishna reveals our relationship with him and our relationship with all other living beings. So that, Srila Prabhupada is explaining, is the difference between material and spiritual. One person is cooking in a house simply for the family, and another person is cooking for Krishna and offers the same thing to their family. It seems like the same thing. It may be the same spices, the same rice from the same rice merchant. Yes? May be served on the same plates, maybe leaves from the same banana tree. But when you offer it to Krishna and then give it to your family, it's not only karma-free, but it's spiritually rejuvenating. So yeah, same activities. The difference between whether they're material or spiritual is our conscious awareness of connection, relationship with God. which is only actuated, which only actually happens through the spirit of service. Because that is our eternal relationship with Krishna. Thank you very much. Yes.